Sure, you might love that cute top for $5 from Forever 21, and those cute shoes from H&M are a bargain to die for. Literally. Be warned, fashion monsters, because fast fashion is killing you. Us.
Come on, man.
Here we explain. Fast fashion may be cheap today, but the price we pay in the long term is immeasurable. Some of your favorite companies like Forever 21, Shein, Fashion Nova, H&M, and many others release new clothes with the quickness, and they make billions in sales as people all around the world snatch up their collections left and right. But what about the clothes that don't get sold? Where do they go? To the landfill, that's where. And although the Earth is a big place, the problem is that landfills all over the world are filling to capacity as more textile waste piles up, and this overflow is literally killing the planet. Another reason why fast fashion is killing you? It's because brands are doing the least and causing the most. And when we say the most, we mean destruction.
Now, I'm really mad.
Let's get into it, monsters. The ugly truth about the fashion industry is about to be revealed right now.
Really, nigga?
So, who hasn't shopped at Zara, Mango, Primark, Benetton, Corte Inglés? These are very popular brands all over the world, known for fast fashion at affordable prices. And just how are they keeping prices so affordable? By cutting corners everywhere they can. Case in point, you may or may not have heard about the Rana Plaza collapse in 2013 in Bangladesh. This 8-story commercial building housed garment factories, shops, and even a bank. But tragically, it became the site of one of the deadliest industrial disasters in history. Rana Plaza was more than just a building. It was a complex that held numerous garment factories, shops, and a bank. Several brands made their clothes here, including Zara, Mango, and Corte Inglés. The collapse of Rana Plaza was a catastrophe waiting to happen. Structural problems and substandard construction were at the root of this disaster. Years before the accident, calls were made to address the building's infrastructure, but no one listened.
We didn't want to go up in the factory, she says, but management forced us to go and said there was no problem with the building.
Shockingly, despite workers raising concerns about cracks in the building's walls and columns, these warnings were brushed aside by factory owners.
Inside at about 9:10 a.m. the building collapsed and we have been trapped inside since then and up to now. It is 10:18 p.m, 11 hours, we were trapped. We did not want to enter the building, but the owners pushed us in to go to work.
The human toll of this tragedy is heart-wrenching. Over 1,100 people lost their lives, and thousands more were injured. Most of the victims were hard-working factory employees, primarily women, producing clothes for various international brands.
তারপরে দেখলাম শুধু একটা লারা মারছে একটা দুরিম করে একটা আওয়াজ হইছে আর আমি দৌড় দিছি দৌড় দিয়ে আমি 4-5 পাও আইছি তারপরে দেখলাম যে আমার চোখ বন্ধ কিন্তু আমি দেখতাছি যে শুধু নিচে লিফটের মতো শুধু নিচেই যাচ্ছে পরে ওখানে বসে অনেক কান্নাকাটি করছি আর ছাদটা ছিল একবারে নাক বরাবর
The collapse of Rana Plaza sent shockwaves around the world. It ignited international outrage and raised serious concerns about working conditions in the global garment industry, especially in developing nations like Bangladesh. In the wake of this catastrophe, there was a resounding call for change. People demanded improved safety standards, greater protection of workers' rights, and increased corporate responsibility. Initiatives and agreements like the Accord on Fire and Building Safety in Bangladesh were launched to address these critical issues. This event also shone a spotlight on the murky practices within the garment industry's supply chains. It sparked increased scrutiny and prompted the industry to reevaluate its practices. The Rana Plaza collapse is a somber reminder of the vital importance of worker safety and the urgent need for improved working conditions across industries worldwide. It forever altered the fashion industry, emphasizing the necessity for transparency and ethical practices in the supply chain. And this is just one reason why fast fashion is killing you.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
There's more. What? And that was a decade ago, but still relatively little has been done to address this issue. Did you know that?
I don't know.
93% of brands surveyed by the fashion checker aren't paying garment workers a living wage. Many fast fashion production facilities are located in countries with emerging or developing markets. Fast fashion retailers employ thousands of people from Bangladesh, India, China, Indonesia, and other low and lower middle income countries, LMIC, as cheap workforce. Not only do these people have to work exhausting hours, but the payment they get, if they get paid, is far from fair. Studies show that 93% of 311 brands aren't paying garment workers a living wage. We also researched and gathered data at Good On You, fashion's most rigorous and comprehensive rating system. They note that 86% of the world's most profitable fashion brands don't disclose anything about living wages or are confirmed to not pay living wages at any stage of the supply chain. This is akin to slavery, as these workers are dying to make your clothes. And then there's the environment to consider too. Textile production contributes more to climate change than international aviation and shipping combined. Most people believe that planes and automobiles are far ahead when it comes to damaging the planet, but the reality is that fashion is the big baddie against the climate. Fast fashion giants have a clear agenda: cut production costs to the bone. Unfortunately, this often means overlooking sustainability. Fashion brands choose non-biodegradable fabrics treated with chemicals and even dispose of production waste in our precious waterways, from streams to lakes and oceans. Our rivers are currently polluted with chemical dyes because of this blatant abuse of the environment. It's eye-opening to note that fast fashion brands such as Shein, Revolve, and Romwe score less than 10% on the Fashion Transparency Index. Sustainable fashion and transparency go hand in hand. Transparency is more than just a buzzword, it's a fundamental prerequisite for the industry to take action against human rights violations, to show respect for workers and communities, and to address pollution and unsustainable resource use. It's time to be skeptical, monsters. We have the power to make these brands change and do what they know is right. Any brand that isn't willing to be fully transparent about how and where they manufacture their products should raise a red flag. But even then, remember, transparency alone isn't enough. We need these brands to commit to high standards and effective assurance systems to ensure they're truly delivering on their promises. The fashion industry is responsible for 8 to 10% of carbon emissions worldwide. That's a significant slice of the pie when it comes to the world's carbon footprint. Now, let's connect the dots. Purchasing fast fashion items is like pouring fuel into the global polluting machine. It's a direct contribution to the 8 to 10% of carbon emissions that our planet bears. It is common knowledge that the environment is in dire straits, and at the rate we are going now, the world will be a much different place 50 years from now if we do not act and do something now. Did you also know that? Fast fashion produces more than 13 million tons of textile waste per year. That means approximately 85% of all textiles end up in the landfills around the world. Each year, millions of tons of clothes are produced, worn, and thrown away. Every second, the equivalent of a rubbish truckload of clothes is burnt or buried in landfill. 3 out of 5 of the 100 billion garments will end up in landfill within a year. This global issue is becoming increasingly apparent. Mountains of clothing waste dumped on countries from Ghana to Chile. It's a problem that's spiraling out of control, and we need to shine a light on it. The problem of clothing waste is not just persisting. It's getting worse as more countries are grappling with literal mountains of discarded clothing. Currently, this catastrophe can be seen from space. Satellites have now located a dump of clothes in Atacama, the Chilean desert, further proof that we are damaging the Earth at unprecedented rates. Another alarming factoid: plastic particles washed off from products such as synthetic clothes contribute up to 35% of the primary plastic that is polluting our oceans. It's a problem we might not even be aware of, but it's happening every time we do our laundry. An average of 9 million microfibers are released into wastewater treatment plants that cannot filter them. Synthetic fibers make up approximately 64% of the global fiber production. That's about 72 tons of synthetic fibers, a significant majority, and it's crucial to understand the implications. Brace yourselves for this unsettling truth. More than half of the clothes we wear are crafted from synthetic textiles derived from oil. We're talking about materials like acrylic, nylon or polyamide, and most notably polyester. Fashion brands adore these synthetics because they're cheap, long-lasting, readily available, and versatile. But there's a dark side to these fabrics. Synthetic fabrics, when washed with detergent during manufacturing and even while being worn, shed a significant amount of microfibers into our environment. These tiny particles are a major contributor to pollution, especially in our oceans. It's a stark reality check. Fast fashion, with its emphasis on cheap, disposable clothing, poses an enormous threat to our planet and all its inhabitants. It's a driving force behind climate change and environmental degradation. Simply put, when we buy cheap items that end up being worn only a couple of times, we are contributing to the mistreatment of both humans and nature. There is a bright side, however, fashion monsters. Fortunately, there's hope for us conscious consumers. Countless brands are stepping up and working to transform the fashion industry for the better. They're championing sustainability, ethical practices, and a brighter future for fashion. And then there's you, listeners. Remember that ultimately, you are the person driving the change that will be in fashion. Without your money, these brands have no say. You are the power. We hope this clarifies the connection between our fashion choices and the environment. Remember to subscribe for more insights, and let's work together towards a more sustainable and eco-conscious future. Thanks for joining us as we navigate the complex world of fashion and its impact on our planet. Until next time, stay beautiful.